So I lied again. Um, it is Sunday, August 20th, and here I am doing a Dylan Knows show, which shouldn't be unusual because up until last weekend, I've been doing my shows on Sundays during the summer. But last weekend, I had to do it on Saturday, and I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I was probably going to be doing it the next couple Saturdays in a row because of a variety of different things. Going out to dinner with my dad and stepmom today, and next week is the Orioles game, and then it'll be Sunday before Labor Day, and that might be the next one that I would do a show on Sunday. But hello, surprise! I'm here on Sunday. What happened? Well, this is what happened. I'm still going to dinner with, early dinner, early supper, whatever you want to call it, because they're old. So they want to have dinner at 3 o'clock. So we're still going to go to dinner with them. But I was going to do my show last night, but then my son, who is notorious for not wanting to watch movies, I convinced him to watch one of my favorite movies. Actually, was the number one on my top 500 movie list, The Martian, last night, because he'd never seen it before. And he enjoyed it. So by the time it was over, it was about 10:45, and I hadn't done my research for the week yet. So I just decided I would try to squeeze it in here because my wife and daughter surprised me this week also saying they weren't going to be here this weekend. I thought they were going to be, but they had to do a scout thing called an ordeal, but we're not getting into that because it's a secret society thing. So we'll talk about that later. But I was able to get everything taken care of. Got up at 10 a.m. This morning and got my research done and took my shower before they got home, and then they just got home about 12. So my daughter's in the shower right now getting cleaned up. My wife is having her coffee. She'll take her shower, and then about 2:30 we will leave to go to Mother's, which is a restaurant in Cockeysville. So that'll be nice to go see my dad and stepmom. So we'll leave here about 2:30. So this show has to be done before 2:30. It should be. That's why I start at 12:30. I sometimes do go 2 hours long, but the last couple have been 55 minutes last week, like an hour, 10 minutes the week before, something like that. So we'll get moving on that one. So that's what's going on with that. So that's why I'm doing it today. So next week it will be on Saturday night because I got nothing that I know of right now going on. It's my son's birthday on Friday. So nothing really going on. So my wife and daughter aren't going anywhere. So Saturday night I should be able to do this show because Sunday we are going to the Orioles game. And then it'll be Labor Day weekend. And I'll be able to do it on Sunday again, probably. And then because I have Monday off, and then we get into fall. School starts for my kids on the 28th, which is next Monday, not this Monday. So they only got one more week of summer vacation left for them. So yeah, it's fall is, as you all know, is my favorite season. It is slowly coming into focus, and we're going to find that out today. But actually, we start right now because I just start working here. Pumpkin spice everything is starting to emerge from its sleep. Dunkin' still isn't going to be doing their pumpkin spice latte until I think the 28th. But still, you're seeing pumpkin spice everything. I was at Weis, my grocery store that I go to. They have 2 end caps that are Halloween and autumn flavored versions. They have Halloween candy already out, so they're starting to roll through there. But now things are starting to roll through here. Pumpkin spice everything is rolling out here, including pumpkin spice cream cheese, which could be interesting actually. Think about it. Pumpkin spice blizzards are out now. Pumpkin spice Chobani oat milk, pumpkin spice giant eagle ice cream, the Starbucks Frappuccino, which is those glass bottle things that I used to drink religiously when I started working at Hanover. And then I just stopped getting them because they were expensive, and it was making me balloon out here. One of the reasons why I'm nice and chunky right now, because they're so good though. They have a pumpkin spice flavor, and I need to try that one now because I like their caramel one. And I've drank a couple of them. I did one on my show not too long ago, about a month or so ago, and I might do that again, probably more. Drinking once a week maybe wouldn't be too bad, but I enjoy my iced teas here. So give me a second here. So I'll be looking forward to that. That should be really good. And then the weirdest one is a pumpkin spice protein shake. I think it's understandable, but that's pretty interesting. So that's what's going on with that. Football season is also continuously underway. The preseason started last weekend. The Ravens continued their dominance in preseason, which doesn't really mean a lick of anything, but they won their 24th straight preseason game against the Eagles, right? Yeah, it was the Eagles, right? Was it the Eagles? Yeah, it was the Eagles, I think. We beat them 20-19. And we don't play again until tomorrow, Monday. We have the last game of preseason week 2. I guess preseason week 3, technically, because they've shortened the preseason, and the first week would have been the Hall of Fame game. So it's like week 3 is the end of week 3, because week 4 is the next week after that. So, or is it week, I don't know, whatever, regardless. But they play the last game against the Washington Commanders in Washington on Monday night. So we'll see if they can run it to 25 straight passes. They've had 25 straight wins. They were having joint practices up at the Ravens facility this week, and it got a little chippy. A couple fights broke out, and then when you get a little overexcited about things, I understand about Mark Andrews actually injured one of their players on a play where he body slammed the dude, didn't need to do it, but did it. But it's not a major injury, but it's still an injury, and it's still kind of stupid to do. So we'll see what happens. But that being said, the Ravens have continually been adding some more depth and help that they need to get themselves ready for the season that they really are hoping takes them far now that they got Lamar under contract for the next 5 years. And hopefully that distraction is going to be out the window. We have a new offensive coordinator, so hopefully this will start. And we've gotten a lot of new wide receiver weapons for him, and our running backs are starting to continue to do what they're doing. And we've got some new ones for that also. We've got new guys everywhere. And we just picked up another guy that I'm surprised that a lot of Ravens fans aren't excited about, but I like him, Jadeveon Clowney, who I didn't like for the longest time because he played for the Browns. He was a number 1 pick for the Browns, I think, a while back as a pass rusher. He was presently without a team, and Ravens signed him to a 1-year deal. So I'm happy about that. I think it'll add some good depth to our rushing group that'll rush the quarterback. And I was looking at his numbers. His numbers really haven't been awful, a lot better than what we've been doing lately. I think he had 9.5 sacks last year, which is actually pretty damn good. So I don't understand why people are kind of ugging this thing, but I think it'll be a good one as long as he stays healthy. And he's playing the Browns twice, so he's going to want to one-up them like they always do whenever you play against your opposing team. You want to one-up them in the game. You might still be friends with them, but you want to one-up them in the game to say, hey, you should have kept me or whatever. But that should be good. So I'm glad they locked him up and put him in there. The other big news that came out the same day as the Jadeveon Clowney signing is even bigger news for me. Is Disney Plus has been has been working on a Percy Jackson TV series, a Disney Plus series that the writer Rick Riordan is officially hands-on. But they made a couple movies that were crappy. But Rick Riordan wanted to make sure that he wanted his stuff to get their day in the sun. So he and his wife teamed up with Disney Plus, and he's show running this show. And they'd been filming it for a while there, and it was great casting, and things are up for that. We got our first teaser trailer for it and a date. I thought they were going to wait till D23 for that, but I guess not. They wanted to get the news out there. Maybe D23 will see the first full trailer for it. This was just a teaser. But Percy Jackson, the Disney Plus TV series, will be out this year. December 20th, beginning with a 2-episode premiere on December 20th. So right before Christmas, we're going to get Percy Jackson's first 2 episodes, and I am ecstatic beyond belief because I love the series. Read to my kids when they were younger. The kids love it. My wife loves it, so it's going to be a great show, and I think they did really good casting, and it's going to be better than the movies because they're going to be following the books. They got the kids the right ages. And really, it's the American version of Harry Potter, except instead of magic, it's Greek mythology. And it's a little bit more intense than the Harry Potter stuff. So it should be very, very good. Very good. Goldfish Grahams are going to be releasing a s'mores flavor, which is good, I guess. Goldfish Grahams are the goldfish crackers that are sweeter. They have a sweet version. They have the salty savory version as well, but this is the sweet version. They're doing a s'mores flavor, so that's pretty cool. The other big news this week is probably as we are speaking right now, Hurricane Hillary will be hitting Los Angeles. A hurricane has never hit California. LA has never been under a hurricane warning. And it is going to hit because it hit Baja California earlier a couple days ago, and the flooding was insane. It's really bad. They're not prepared for hurricanes. They were not supposed to get hurricanes. And yet here we are, and you just got to start shaking these goddamn GOP people who are saying climate change does not exist. This is the definitive proof that it exists because we never have hurricanes in the Pacific Ocean that hit the west coast of the United States. Has never happened. You can look this up. This is the first time ever in recorded meteorological history that this has happened. It never happens. It did this time, though. Normally, their typhoons do form in the Pacific Ocean, but they tend to be out in the warmer waters. The typhoon that passed nearby Hawaii is what set off the Hawaii wildfires last week. But typhoons have hit Hawaii. Typhoons have hit the western coast of, I guess I should say, is it western? The western coast of Japan. Would that be east for them? That might be eastern coast. Yes, that's the eastern coast of Japan and stuff like that. They've gotten typhoons before. So they do form, but they've never come over this close to the United States because the west coast of the United States has never, ever, ever, let me reiterate it over and over again, has never, ever, ever gotten a hurricane warning, has never gotten a hurricane. And they're getting one right now, probably even as we speak. So, I mean, there are people who are out in California who I've been following on Twitter who are like, what do we do? and it's not funny because they don't know. It's the same as people who, once again, more climate change stuff. Texas getting major snowfalls and icing happening in Texas. And their power outage that went out for like a month or 2 months, they were out of power for that long because the fucking stupid GOP politicians are morons. They don't know how to drive on icy roads because they never had to. 2 inches of snow falls on them. They don't know how to drive in it, how to handle that. It never happens. It's happening now. These polar vortexes that have been nailing the United States the United States in general over the last century. We're talking 23 years ago, the beginning of the century. There's never been, as far as I can recall, something called a polar vortex ever to hit the eastern seaboard till this century. We've had cold weather, yes. I remember there was a time in the early 90s when I was at college where we had negative degree temperatures up in Pennsylvania where my college was. But that wasn't a polar vortex. That was just a very brutal cold front. And it was the only time it happened up there until we got these polar vortexes that started popping up. And the reason for that is because the Arctic ice is melting and it's not containing the cold air as much as it used to, because there used to be a huge ice block up there in the Arctic during the winter that would be able to control the cold weather and keep it up in the Arctic. That's why the Arctic is freaking cold. But because it's been melting, it doesn't have that strength anymore. So it starts to leak down to the United States. That's climate change also. So all you freaking morons who don't believe in climate change, just look around you. This is what it is. This is what's happening. We're seeing the results of climate change right now. Giant icebergs being broken off down in the Antarctic. That's another sign of climate change. And we need to do something about it, but you're not going to because you're a bunch of fucking cowards. Speaking of the fucking GOP, Kid Rock, who was notorious for shooting up cases of Bud Light once Bud Light had a trans spokesperson and claiming he would never, ever drink Bud Light again, was spotted drinking a Bud Light because he's a fucking moron. A privileged rich kid who wants you to believe that he's a southern street country kid. He's not. He's a privileged white fucker who thinks he's being badass. He's not. He has money. His family has money. And he was raised with money. Upstate Michigan is rich area, and that's where he grew up. He's not a Southern country asshole. He's a Northern Michigan rich asshole. Fucking moron, and was making such a big deal, and now he's drinking Bud Light again. Okay. Also, the former president, whose name I will not mention, was indicted for the 4th time this week in the Georgia RICO case, where he was claiming he was coercing people to give him more votes so he could win Georgia and win the election. He got indicted for that for the 4th time, and the case with that is the indictments on him are all laws that he broke, that the consequences are jail time, and they cannot be pardoned because it's a state, not a federal issue. So if somehow miraculously a Republican wins in 2024, they cannot pardon him for the Georgia stuff. So he's still going to have to do a minimum 5 years in prison if he's found guilty of this stuff. That's minimum of 5 years in prison. So they're trying everything in their way to turn it into a federal case, but it's not going to work. There's now rumors that Arizona might be indicting him for a 5th time on their case of fake electors as well. That would be amazing too. So there's that. That's all I'm going to talk about politics now. The first look at Monarch, the Legacy of Monsters, which is the Godzilla, American Godzilla Apple Plus show with Dennis Quaid, is it Dennis Quaid and his son Jack Quaid? I think it's Dennis Quaid, or is it Kurt Russell? No, it's Kurt Russell and his son. That's right. It's Kurt Russell and his son. They're the ones that are doing it. It's based on it's a continuation, I should say, of the 3 Godzilla movies that have already come out: Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla, and Godzilla King of Monsters, which my son absolutely loves. So we got the first looks at some of that, including Kurt Russell and his son, what their characters look like, and the first look at Godzilla and stuff like that. So pretty cool about that. Low tide on a South Carolina beach reveals a 100,000-year-old fossil. Kind of an intriguing thing. An ancient whale fossil was also found that may outweigh the blue whale, and it supposedly weighs as much as a space shuttle. So that's fairly impressive. So is there any other? Let's talk about this. Little Debbie has released their pumpkin fall treats as well, including a Little Debbie pumpkin pie, individual mini pumpkin pie, which is kind of intriguing. A 230 million years old creature that they nicknamed Edward Scissorhands was located. He has a beak-like snout and claws on his hands, hence the name for Edward Scissorhands. So that's pretty cool. Cheetos Cinnamon Sugar Bag of Bones is returning, which is their that's not right. Which is their Halloween treat that they have. They're like little skulls, stuff like that are very tasty. Actually, I had them last year. They're really, really good. They taste like cinnamon sugar. So they're coming back now. Sour Patch Kids have revealed a apple harvest version of their Sour Patch Kids. I think it's apple cider, apple pie, and there's one other apple thing in there as well. So that's kind of neat to see that. Because pumpkin gets the majority of stuff, but apple is a big thing during the fall as well, as you will see later on in the show too. A shop in Hunan province in Canada is located 393 feet on the side of a cliff, which supplies climbers with water and food and other accoutrements. So somebody actually climbs to the 393-foot store, opens it up, and sits there for 8 hours or whatever it is while climbers climb up, and he offers them sustenance. That's kind of a weird, interesting kind of job, because not everybody's going to be climbing. So you're just going to be sitting there 393 feet above the ground waiting for somebody to climb up. And even then, when they climb up, they might decide not to stop by. It's just kind of a weird, but hey, whatever. Video of a sloth fighting off an ocelot in the Amazon rainforest has been released this week. Don't sleep on sloths. I mean, you've got that sloth horror movie coming out here soon, and they got those vicious claws. They may be low, small, lumbering, and they may have that innocent look, but you get in their face and their area. You step up to them, they're going to rip you apart. So just watch out. A League of Their Own, the TV series on Amazon Prime, was set to get a shortened second season of 4 episodes. I guess kind of to wrap up stuff, because I guess Amazon Prime really was not that interested into it, but they had enough interest in it. They did a second season. I think there's also another show called Periphery, which was also was going to get a second season also. Amazon has turned around and said, nope, we're not going to do them after all. So those announced second seasons are no longer going to happen, and now they are officially canceled. So kind of a shame. I had somebody I work with was in the League of Their Own TV show, and somebody I went to college with was also in it also. So kind of a shame about that. But with the writer's strike, who knew when it was going to come back online anyway. Purple Cow, which is a ice cream company I don't know much about, has a cinnamon French toast ice cream flavor out there. And Eggo is releasing a boozy drink that tastes like waffles, maple syrup, and bacon, but with alcohol. So breakfast is getting notched up another level. Bruce Springsteen has taken ill during one of his concerts, or was taken ill before 2 of his concerts. He's canceled 2 of his concerts due to his illness, so hopefully he's going to be okay. And Jeff Smith, cartoonist, creator of the hugely popular and critically acclaimed graphic novel Bone, had a heart attack and has canceled all of his remaining convention appearances for the rest of the year, so he can recover. And that makes perfect sense for both of them to do this. You've got to get better. It might piss people off, but you know what? You've got to get better, because if you try to do it and you're not feeling 100%, it's not going to make things better. It's going to make things worse. Anniversaries this week. We have Strange Brew is 40 years old this week, the Canadian film that was a spinoff of SCTV with Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas. Their characters from SCTV got a spinoff, just like SNL's characters used to get spinoffs. And Strange Brew is a classic 80s film. It's 40 years old this week. And Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie, the first animated film that introduced Ahsoka Tano to the Star Wars canon, was released 15 years ago this week as well, just in time for this week's arrival of Ahsoka, which I'll talk about in a few minutes here. Deaths this week, we have Sir Michael Parkinson, who was a BBC chat host for many years, died at the age of 88. And actor Ron Cephas Jones, who was a multiple Emmy winner for the TV show This Is Us, died this week as well. All right. Let's see if I have the Ahsoka story here. Yep. Ahsoka has now moved to Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time is when it's going to drop, at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific, with 2 episodes. So it's not coming out on Wednesday the 23rd. It's going to be out Tuesday 22nd, which is in 2 days. And it's going to be released at 9 o'clock. I mean, it will not be released at midnight. It will not be released any other time until 9 o'clock. The reason why is Disney Plus has been playing with different ways of doing things. Now, they started the whole thing off where they're going to release an episode a week, like a regular TV show, but they would drop that at like midnight on the Eastern Coast, on Eastern, or on the Pacific Coast, 3 a.m. on the East Coast. So they would release that then. And then they decided, let's release 2 episodes at one time to begin the season, and then do remainders after that. So they did that as well. Then they're doing for the Echo TV show, which might now be moved to next year. They were going to release every episode at one time, like they used to, that Netflix does, just at one time, just to do that, to test and see how that works. And now they're going to do this, where they're going to release every episode of Ahsoka at 9 p.m. Eastern time on a Tuesday. So it's like going to a regular network TV show and saying, okay, so it's going to be on 9 o'clock. So you turn on 9 o'clock and boom, it drops. And then it'll stay obviously on the Disney Plus till they get rid of it. But, and you can watch it at your leisure. But if you want to see it as soon as it drops, 9 p.m. is when, boom, it'll drop the new episode. So it's kind of a neat way of doing things. So they're going to do that starting with Ahsoka, which is happening, as I said, on Tuesday. I haven't really never watched Rebels or the rest of Clone Wars, so I'm intrigued by the show, but I don't know if I'm going to get to it because I still haven't finished Mandalorian yet. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Speaking of Godzilla -1, the new Japanese Godzilla movie, is set for a December 1st release date in the United States in movie theaters. My Animal trailer, a genre-breaking lesbian werewolf romance movie, is due out on September 8th. First trailer for that came out. Haikyuu movie Part 1 will focus on the Karasuno versus Nekama championship game. If you know Haikyuu, you know where that's leading. So the whole movie is going to be just about that. So that's pretty cool. So instead of releasing episodes, they're going to just make it into a movie. Spain wins the Ladies World Cup over Great Britain. That was this morning. 3 levels of Mike Myers inflatables are now available. I think I talked about them before. There's a regular size, like 6 foot tall one. There's like a 12-foot one. There's like a 24-foot one, something like that. So that's now available. Pumpkin beer is also returning. It is a staple during the fall as well, much like pumpkin spices as well. There are some pretty good pumpkin beers out there, actually. Batman 89, the comic book series, which continues the Michael Keaton saga after Batman and Batman Returns. The artist draws him in the style of Michael Keaton, and Michael Goes Alfred and stuff like that, and Pat Hingle's Commissioner Gordon and all that. So it's just basically a continuation of the Michael Keaton Batman ones. Is releasing a new series this week, or not this week, but soon, which is going to focus on a Burton-esque Scarecrow, which would have been fascinating to see what they would have done with that. And this Scarecrow that they had the picture of for the cover of the first issue looks outstanding. So that could be a pretty good comic to check out as well. I've been waiting for this forever. This was the other big news that dropped during the Percy Jackson and Jadavian Clowney news. Prey, the prequel to Predator about the Native American woman in like the 1400s, 1500s who takes on a predator in early North America, is finally coming out on Blu-ray on October 3rd. It came out about a year and a half ago. It might have even been longer than that if I think about it. And I've been dying to see it because I don't have Hulu and I don't want to get Hulu, but I've been dying to see it because everybody's been saying how good it is. I've been seeing lots of videos of it in the trailer, and it looks phenomenal. I really want to see it. So I kept checking Amazon to see if they released it. And I thought they said they were going to, and it never showed up. And now it is. Let me just see. Last time I checked, it hadn't been updated yet. So let's see if Prey is still not updated to Amazon yet. Again, it's still early, so it might not be. But let's see. Nope, it still isn't yet. So it'll get there eventually. So I'm not too worried about that. They have a new Comey can't communicate. All right, let's reorder that. Okay, just got that. I did that for my daughter. Oh, let me just see if my delivery has shown up yet. It has. It is outside right now, even as we speak. So that's good. I didn't go anywhere. I don't have to worry about people stealing my Amazon stuff. So that's good. So this is odd. The Blue Beetle movie came out this week, and it's not doing as great as people thought it would, or as expected. They thought it wasn't going to be a bomb. I'm not sorry. They didn't think it was going to be a huge hit. And they're making a big deal that it overthrew Barbie at the box office, the number one movie in America. Yeah, Barbie's been out for a month and a half now, and it's made over $1 billion. So it was eventually going to lose the number one spot. It's not a big surprise that it did. And it doesn't mean the movie's terrible because it's made over a fucking $1 billion. So why don't you shut the fuck up, you racist piece of shit, misogynist assholes. But Blue Beetle became the number one. So it made some money, I guess, but it still didn't make as much as expected. But I saw the weirdest ad, and this is something that me and my boss at work, Jack, we joke about sometimes. And this was an ad that said Blue Beetle is powered by Vicks Vapor Rub, because Vicks is a sponsor of it. And it's like, what? Vicks Vapor Rub powers Blue Beetle. It's the same as the joke that my boss Jack uses. It's like Thor's official car is a Mustang or whatever it was, or a Dodge Charger or whatever. And it's a advertising that's they paid money to like Marvel movies or other movies to use their likenesses in their commercials and use them. Say, hey, we're the official car of the Avengers. I was like, what? It's an advertising thing. I can go so much off. I might do a interviews with myself about advertising because I absolutely despise the state of advertising right now. It is listening to it on the radio. It absolutely blows my freaking mind all the time. And this just continues it. Blue Beetle powered by Vicks Vapor Rub. Maybe that should have been the title of this week's episode, which was Hurricane Cows, by the way. And we're going to talk about that. Talk about the hurricane part about it. The cow part is going to be something else here down the line. Which is not connected to the hurricanes, but it's still kind of funny about what happened. Well, kind of funny. So it'll be October 3rd, be finally out on Blu-ray Prey. So I'm excited about that. The Baltimore Comic-Con, for whatever reason, I thought was going to be the weekend of the 21st to the 23rd, something like that. It's not. It's actually next week, 2 weekends from now. It's right after Labor Day weekend. It's September 8th through the 11th. So you're in Baltimore. Baltimore Con is still going on. It should be a big thing. That Sunday is going to be opening day for the Ravens as well, which is kind of interesting. So, but yes, the Baltimore Comic-Con, 8th through the 10th, I'm sorry. Not the 11th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So it should be kind of interesting to see that, to do that. I'm contemplating taking off the 8th because I was going to take that day off. The day off anyways, I'm leaving. Or I thought I had a dentist appointment that day, but I actually have it on that Thursday. But I'm thinking maybe taking the 8th off. And if I do, maybe I should go down to the convention center and just walk around Friday, just take a look around. We'll see. I haven't decided that yet. I'm going to do that. But yes, if you want to go to the Baltimore Comic-Con, it is actually officially September 8th through the 10th. I thought it was the 22nd through the 21st to the 23rd or whatever it was, but no, I'm wrong. It's the 8th through the 10th. September 8th through the 10th, Baltimore Comic-Con. There you go. Barbie, talking about the people who are like, oh, Blue Beetle beat Barbie at the box office for the first time. Yeah. Wow, Blue Beetle's better than Barbie. No. As I told you, it was been out for a month and a half. Has been number one for about a month and a half. And it's a hit because Barbie has now surpassed The Dark Knight, which ironically was directed by Christopher Nolan with the whole Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer stuff, as WB's highest grossing domestic film ever. So domestically, it has made more money than The Dark Knight, which was the highest grossing domestic film from Warner Brothers. But now Barbie is now that as well. And who is that? Randall Park had a really good point. He said that people are taking the wrong take on Barbie's success. They're not saying that they should make more movies about toys. They're saying they should make more movies that are directed by and starring women, which is a very good point. And I kind of agree with that as well. Speaking of which, the Lego Disney Princess movie, the Castle Quest, has just been unleashed on Disney+. The Lego movies are actually really, really good, and this one is the first one ever that focuses on the Disney princesses working together in a case, which is going to be kind of interesting to check that out. to see how that looks. So that's kind of a neat idea. They're doing that. The 12-foot tall skeleton that made history last year is finally back in stock at Home Depot, but only for a limited time. So go out if you did not get it last year and you're like, I really want to get one. They're back in stock, but they're probably not going to be there for much longer. So you better hurry up and get your thing here. Disenchanted, which is Matt Groening's cartoon about the fantasy world, is released its season 3 trailer, which will be the final season of the show. So we've got one more season of Disenchanted to come. Cartoon Network to debut Tiny Toons Looniversity on September 9th, which makes sense because I remember Tiny Toons Adventures when it first came out in September, because September used to be, I'm old man stuff now. September used to be the big year where a big month where all the TV shows on the networks would have their season premieres. And when I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons, they would have their debuts during that middle week of September as well. So it just makes sense that this is continuing with that as well. I think I talked about this, but I'm just going to mention again. The DVD rental, mail rental wing of Netflix is going to be shut down on September 29th. And as a thank you, I guess, to people who had been using it up to this point, even after Netflix became a streaming service, it was still in operation. But now they are coming to the end. It's about a month away from being shut down permanently. They need to get rid of inventory. So what they've been doing apparently is just sending random DVDs and Blu-rays to their most popular customers who've used the DVD service more than anybody, as a thank you. It's free. We don't need these anymore. Here, you don't have to pay for them. Just boom, take them. You don't have to return them or nothing. Just they're your DVDs, so take them. So I think it's kind of cool. So and it would be even cooler if they had someone who was sitting down there and say, okay, this person has rented such and so movie 35 times in the last 35 years. Once a year they do it, whatever. Let's send him a copy of it. Let them keep it. I think that would be a neat idea, but no, that's kind of cool. Anyway, kid destroys a 15,000 piece Lego sculpture an hour after the Lego exhibit opened up. That's just wrong. And that's why you keep a better track of your kids when you're at these types of events, and why they have people up there who are guards, stuff like that, to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. 15,000 piece Lego destroyed within 1 hour by a stupid ass kid. Ridiculous. A super detailed Pokeball model has just been released, and the inside, it's so cool. It's a clear ball that has the colors of each of the different Pokeballs, and inside is etched a certain Pokemon, like there's an Eevee or a Pikachu or whatever, and it looks like they're being held inside the Pokeball. It's like you're getting a look at inside of the Pokeball. It is really cool looking. So that is out now. I think that's just really, really kind of wild. These are LARPers, live action role players, who really took it a next step up. I think I have to applaud them. In Italy, 9 guys recreated the Fellowship of the Ring from Lord of the Rings and walked across Italy to throw a ring into Mount Vesuvius. That's really getting into your characters. I think that's a freaking awesome thing, and I'm glad that they did it, and I applaud them again. It's absolutely brilliant, and the fact that all 9 of them made it there is even better. So that's kind of cool, and to throw it into Mount Vesuvius is even funnier. So that's great. I love that idea. I think it's fantastic. So you go, guys. Awesome. All right. These next 2 stories are sort of connected in a weird kind of way. We'll do the first one. I did make a reservation 3 o'clock for the 6 of us. We can eat outside on the completely covered patio or inside the side when we get there. Looking forward to our... yeah, it's just my stepmom letting us know that everything is set. So that's good. All right. So good. All right. So these are two stories that came out right around the same time, and I find them both equally kind of disturbing in their own sort of way. First up, we'll do this. The Maestro trailer finally came out. Bradley Cooper has been obsessed with Leonard Bernstein, one of the greatest composers of our time. And I think there might be even he might even have some connection to him down. I don't know, but he's been obsessed with Leonard Bernstein. He's been wanting to do a biopic of him for the longest time. He finally got it. He's directing it. I think he wrote the screenplay as well. And he's playing the lead role. And they released the first trailer for it, and it looks stunning. It looks outstanding. It's shot in black and white and color, sort of how Oppenheimer was, and it looks so good. And Bradley is using his Kevin Costner, Orson Welles sort of shooting thing with like the deep, long shots and the gorgeous, it looks absolutely stunning. And I'm excited for it. It'll be in movie theaters on November 22nd, and it's going to be on Netflix on December 20th. So December 20th is going to be a great day for me. It's going to be Percy Jackson, and it's going to be The Maestro is out. I'm going to take December 20th off. Huh. But it looks gorgeous. It absolutely looks stunning, and it looks amazing. Here's the bad part, though. A bunch of people who saw the trailer are complaining that in order to portray Leonard Bernstein, who is Jewish, Bradley Cooper has put a extension on his nose because Leonard Bernstein had a Jewish-looking nose. He was born with it. It's the way it is. It's not a racist thing. They're turning it into a racist thing, saying, why don't you just use your regular nose? Why do you have to have the extended nose to make him be Jewish? Because he's playing a Jewish guy. He wants to bring Leonard Bernstein's life to the forefront. He wants to show you what it's like, and to have just Bradley Cooper's little nose just would throw people off. You need to have that nose because he wants to be Leonard Bernstein. That's the whole point. Is he's playing Leonard Bernstein. He needs to look like Leonard Bernstein. He's like act like him. He's taken courses on how to conduct properly. He's learned everything about Bernstein's life. So it makes sense that he's going to want to look like him too. These people are like, you make him look too Jewish. What's the family going to think? Let's ask the fucking family, shall we? So we asked the family of Leonard Bernstein, who's still alive, a couple generations after him. And they're like, looks fine to me, because they know Bradley Cooper is so obsessed with it and wants to make it beautiful, and they're all for it. I mean, he got their permissions. Like, can I make this movie about him? And they loved him. And they said, I don't see anything wrong with this. He's portraying Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein had that nose. It makes sense that he's going to have that on. Sometimes these fake people like clutching their pearls. It's upsetting. And it's not all Republicans at some point. Some of these are Democrats also who are like, this is a racist stereotype. No, it isn't. He's playing a Jewish character. He's going to need to have the nose. You want him to look like it. He wants to be Leonard Bernstein. That's who he is. That's what he's trying to do. That's what the movie's about. It's not Bradley Cooper playing Leonard Bernstein. It's about Leonard Bernstein. So that pissed me off. But the family said, we're cool with it, and that's all that matters to me. If the family was upset with it, well, then that might be a different story. But they're not. They're cool with it. So let's move on, shall we? Speaking of that, The Blind Side, which was a huge hit in movie theaters, won a bunch of Oscars, including Sandra Bullock won an Oscar, based on a true story about Michael Orr, who was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't really amount to much, and then he's bounced around the NFL for a while. Don't know if he's even still in the league at that matter. But he came out this week with a bombshell saying that he was never adopted by the Blindside family. They used him up as a citizen conservativeship, which is what Britney Spears was under for a while, but they did not officially adopt him, whatever. And it wasn't as, butterfly and roses that the Blind Side made it look like. So after many years of that happening, he's finally announcing this. I guess I can see that that's fine. But what got me really pissed off is that now people are saying, well, Sandra Bullock should return an Oscar for playing the role of this Blindside lady, because the Blindside lady turned out not to be how Sandra Bullock played her. What? Sandra Bullock does not need to return her Oscar for playing a role of a person who was, at this point, allegedly misrepresented in The Blind Side. Blind Side turned out to be this loving mother thing, and she played it the way it was in the book. And now we discover that it was a misrepresentation of it. If it is allegedly a misrepresentation of it, now they want her to return the Oscar. Why? She did her job. She knew her assignment. She did what she was supposed to do. At the time when the movie came out and the book came out, this was not even a story. It wasn't even an issue. So why the fuck should she have to return her stuff now? Because we discovered that she was lying. She wasn't lying. She's playing a role. She did the script that was based on the book. Doesn't matter if she was lying about it. Sandra Bullock wasn't the one lying about it. She was playing a role. And she won an Oscar for it. And it wasn't because, oh, this woman is so great that we should give Sandra Bullock the Oscar because she's so great. No, it's because Sandra Bullock did a fucking good job. So that's a fucking stupid thing as well. So that's the second stupid thing that came out this week. I was like, are you fucking serious? Both of these stories are absolutely stupid. And yet they are big stories in the media now. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, media? Well, that's the difference, right? Because they're fucked up anyway. Oh, God. All right, 1:30. I got about half an hour to wrap this stuff up. Oh, technically an hour, but we'll see. Anniversaries. The remake of Fright Night, which actually looks pretty good, actually is, I don't own a copy of it, but I finally found a copy of it on Amazon, is outside on my stoop right now for $3.99. So if you want to get this movie, get it. It's David Tennant's in it, Colin Farrell, and the dude who was in Star Trek, the new version of it, and who died, who played Chekhov. I forget the actor's name. He's in it also, and Imogen Poops is in it as well. And everybody said that it's a really good adaptation, a good remake of Fright Night, because there's some good remakes of the remakes. It didn't need to be remade, but it did. But they had a good cast and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see it. So for $3.99, I couldn't pass it up. So I bought a copy of it. I'll watch it probably this Halloween, and I'll let you guys know what's going on with that. But that came out 15 years ago. God, 15 years ago. No, 12 years ago. Excuse me, 12 years ago this week. So there we go. Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat movie, came out 28 years ago, not the new one that came out in 2020, and the sequel will be out probably in 2024, 2025. But the original one came out 28 years ago this week. Is that the one that was directed by Paul Anderson? Maybe. The 40-Year-Old Virgin came out 18 years ago this week. Saw that in the movie theater. 18 years, damn. Enter the Dragon, the last Bruce Lee movie, and probably his best one, is 50 years old this week. So I'm older than Enter the Dragon. So that's kind of interesting. Is all the anniversaries this week? Yep, there's no deaths on this page. So next full page. We got a page and a half. No, we've got 2 full pages and a half page. This one might be pushing it a little bit. Hour and a half would make it. No, it might be an hour and a half. We'll work it out. I only have an hour, so I can't do an hour and a half. All right, so let's move it here. I should be plenty of time. Alabama police officer was arrested and fined for stealing Pokemon cards from Walmart. Those are still big deals, and I can't believe that happened, but there we are. You can stay in a giant potato in Idaho for $200 a night. I think I've told that story before, but it came up on my feed again, so I figured I mentioned it again. A Barbie pop-up will be arriving at the Mall of America probably in time for the holidays this year, so you'll probably be able to get any of these new Barbie dolls or just regular Barbie dolls that came up as well. Michael Pera will be playing a real-life migrant farmer turned astronaut, Jose Hernandez, in a movie called A Million Miles Away. Trailer came out for it. Looks pretty good. the trailer for Adam Sandler's new Netflix film, You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, was released this week. It also stars his real life daughter in it as well. And I have to keep, every time this comes up, I just have to give props Adam Sandler on this real quick. Adam Sandler saw the advent of streaming services and made a very good decision, very smart decision, to team up with Netflix when they first started streaming, because he saw the future. And he said, if you give me a contract, I will make you movies every year and they will stream on Netflix to keep you having some original content. They will not open up in movie theaters. They will be only directly on Netflix. And Netflix says, fuck yeah, we're going to give you 200, 300, 400, 500, whatever that, $500 million to make movies every year for us. And every single Adam Sandler movie that has come out on Netflix has been a huge hit and lots of views and became huge. Even the Hubie Halloween movie, which is considered to be one of the worst movies ever made, and Adam Sandler really made it as sort of a fuck you to the people who didn't take him seriously in his Diamonds movie that he should have gotten an Oscar nomination for. It still was a huge hit on Netflix. So this is not surprising me that this is going to be another huge hit for him, and he's able to do things a little bit more. I have to give him props because that was very good future insight. He knew what was coming. He said, this is the future. I want in on this. And even if it isn't successful, I might be able to, not fleece, but I might be able to make some extra money here, and do stuff that I like and not have to worry about, companies saying anything to me. So I have to give him credit all the time. So congratulations, Adam. You're actually, I might not, like your films all that much, but you're a very smart man. And I will always applaud you for that. You are extraordinarily smart. Campbell's Chunky Creamy Chicken Bacon Carbonara Soup is a new thing that came out just in time for fall, and I'm going to find that and I'm going to eat that because that sounds fucking delicious. Have you ever had chicken carbonara? It is one of the best pastas out there, and now they have it in a soup form. I am absolutely all in for it. Shoresy, the spinoff of Letterkenny, is released its second season teaser trailer. It will be out on October 27th on Hulu. So fuck you, Shoresy. This is going to be a huge hit in the comic book world as well. Predator versus Wolverine. I think I talked about that as well, but they're really pushing it. It's coming in September. I might have to go to the comic shop to pick that up. And the Batman 89 Scarecrow thing looks really awesome too. So that's coming out sometime in September. So Predator versus Wolverine, which should be outstanding and should be made into a movie, actually. The Maldives is looking to hire a resident Ken for the role of Beach. That is not a joke. That is not an Onion thing. The Maldives are actually looking for someone who can be their Beach Ken, which is a huge joke in the Barbie movie, if you've seen it. Steven Spielberg is producing a docuseries on Netflix. Netflix has amazing docuseries. Also, they're Johnny Depp Amber Heard docuseries based on their trial just released this week. Haven't checked it out yet, but it's up there with the Arnold Schwarzenegger docuseries, which I also haven't checked out yet, but I want to. But also some of the other the Woodstock '99 docuseries and the one about the missing Malaysian Airlines one. They've all been extraordinarily good, and they have really the docuseries are fantastic. Spielberg is producing a new one for Netflix, which is called Encounters, and it is going to be a docuseries about aliens, alien abductions, and UFOs. And Spielberg's producing it. I think that's freaking brilliant. Close Encounters, ET, all that stuff, AI, so like that. I think that's amazing, and I can't wait to see that. And that's due, I think they said in September, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. And I will definitely be checking that out. That'll probably be one of the ones I will do when the kids are at Scouts during September, which is when they go back to having Scout meetings, technically. I'll be able to watch them during that time. What the hell? Oh, a woman annuls her marriage after husband smashes wedding cake in her face. Now, I've always detested that sort of, hey, let's do something violent to each other to start our wedding off. It's funny, yes, for the guests and stuff like that, but it messes up your face, it messes up your outfit, and it's not really funny. It's kind of a violent sort of take on things. My wife didn't want to do it for our wedding, so we didn't, and that was kind of funny also because our wedding cake actually was the only issue we had with our wedding. Really, for the most part, we had wedding glass tiers that were holding up the layers of the cake, and one of them broke, and the glass got into the cake, so we couldn't serve it, obviously, because we don't want someone to eat the wedding cake and eat glass. So the guy who was running our after wedding party, which I can't think of the name right now, reception, was able to go get a sheet cake from the Giant, which was nearby there, and bring it there, and that was the wedding cake. And they did put aside a piece of wedding cake for us that they knew didn't have glass that we could eat from our wedding cake, but then everybody else got a piece of this sheet cake. But yeah, the whole thing about smashing a cake into your wife's or husband's face to begin marriage is slightly problematic to me anyway. Speaking of that, also, a woman divorces her husband and sends $10,000 to a catfisher who claimed to be Stranger Things star Dacre Montgomery. And he said he was going to marry this woman if she brought him $10,000, whatever. And she was catfished in by it. It's a sad story, but at the same time, if you were that unhappy with your marriage that you had to go after and imagine, or if you were obsessed with an actor, there's not any reason for you to destroy your wedding or your marriage because you're obsessed with an actor, because those catfishers will take advantage of that. I mean, look, we have our secret celebrity crushes. I've got a ton of them. You know, Sarah Michelle Gellar's the one right on top. There's Felicia Day. There's Sydney Sweeney. There's Anne Hathaway. There's all these that are up there for me, but I'm never going to, Anne Hathaway's not going to email me and say, I just divorced my husband, or I just separated from my husband. Why don't we go out on a date? Send me $10,000 and we can go meet. I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And even if it was the real Anne Hathaway, it's like, why would you do that anyway? So I guess I understand, but at the same time, just like, really? I don't know. What was I going to do next? A24 is continually surprising me with everything they're doing. First up, this one wasn't surprised. I knew about this, but we finally had the official okay. A24 is going to be re-releasing hugely popular Stop Making Sense Talking Heads concert film directed by Jonathan Demme. Came out in the 1980s. It's celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. And they're re-releasing it in theaters. They've redone it, and they've turned it into IMAX. So it'll be released in IMAX on September 12th and be released in September 22nd, September 22nd, and will be released in regular theaters that aren't IMAX on the 29th. So if you're a huge fan of Talking Heads, and it was a huge concert movie. It was a big hit. And it was what set Jonathan Demme on his course to end up, directing some of the best films, including Silence of the Lambs and Philadelphia. I was Married to the Mob. Was that the other one he also did? Also, yeah. But yeah, the fact that they spent some money to redo it in IMAX format and to clean it up and re-release it for its 40th anniversary is really interesting. And A24 is a really, really smart company. They're one of the only ones that has signed the deal with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA to acquiesce to all their demands, so they can actually make movies during the strike, because SAG-AFTRA and WGA said, yeah, these guys are cool. We can make movies with them. So if you want to make a movie with them, please do. They'll do it. They're going to cover us. They have our back. So that's amazing. That's really, really cool. It's up there with Blumhouse. Blumhouse is doing really well also. But we're not going to talk about Blumhouse just yet. There's a Blumhouse thing coming up. But right now, what we're going to do right now is A24 also has a movie coming out November 10th, which is going to go up against the Marvels. But this is actually really interesting as well. It's called Dream Scenario. And A24, they have the bizarre sort of, they're one of the only companies that does these really crazy original sort of stories. This one's a really cool one. It's basically a Nicolas Cage film about a regular small town guy who all of a sudden starts appearing in people's dreams. Now, he's not hunting them down and killing them like Freddy Krueger. He's just appearing in people's dreams. So that sounds really interesting. And I might have to check that out because I'm going to definitely see the Marvels. I think I'm going to take that day off also. I'm going to see the Marvels. And if I have time, I might see that movie as well if it's playing at the same time in the same theater. So that's just really, really cool. Film Fanatic breaks his record, smashes his own record after watching 777 movies in the movie theater this year alone. I thought I was impressive that I did 51 movies in a year once, but 777 in 1 year. Wow. I mean, he must have seen every movie because I don't know because with my 51 movies, I saw movies a bunch of times, like 3 or 4 times, but I still count it because I was still at the movie theater watching it. So that's impressive. Anatomy of a Fall, the Palme d'Or winner, arrives in movie theaters on October 13th. So that's finally has it out there. Oh, that's what I want to do. Jeffrey Brown is a really good cartoonist. He's funny and hilarious. And he made a series of cartoon books for kids, which was called like Dad Vader or something like that. And it reimagined Darth Vader being a dad to Luke and Leia when they were little. And it's freaking hilarious. He's doing regular dad stuff, but at the same time doing Darth Vader stuff, and his kids are precocious and stuff like that. So it's very funny. And I love the fact that, let me see what you get up there. Yep. The extra files. It says Star Wars: A Vader Family Sith Myths, which I haven't read yet. Darth Vader and Friends, which I haven't read yet. Good Night, Darth Vader is another one. But yeah, so he's doing one called The Extra Files. The humor is out there, and he's taking a look at the X-Files. Now, it's not due out till November 8th, but I'm going to pre-order it now. I'm not going to place my order. I'm going to cancel it, and I'm going to put it. Actually, you can pre-order it. Titles will be released November 7th, but will not be delivered to you till November 8th, the next day, which is understandable. So I'm going to put that on my pre-order because one day there's so much stuff I want to pre-order. I want to get this year because this fall is going to be an amazing season for books, and I just want to get this on there. So he's got this book coming out November 7th. Definitely would check Jeffrey Brown, called The Extra Files. And it's just going to be one-page cartoons that are funny jokes that only fans of X-Files would get and stuff like that. Couple takes engagement photos at an Olive Garden for the Italian vibe. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's one of the draws of Olive Garden is you build the restaurant. The exterior of the restaurant is sort of an old Italian style sort of building. And you've got these specific Italian style flowers and plants, stuff like that, growing around it. So you get that vibe that you're in Italy. So why not? You know, it's the same as a couple getting married at McDonald's. If you want to get married at McDonald's, get married at McDonald's. Who gives a fuck? So that's pretty cool. Hill Country Village in Texas is baffled by a mysterious creature that's been photographed multiple times and honestly looks a lot like a chupacabra. So don't know if it's an actual chupacabra or if it's an animal that has mange. The photos are fairly clear, but they're from a distance, but they're like four-legged animals that have no fur but have a weird look to them. Usually those are the ones that have mange and all the fur comes off. And Reisterstown, actually, Glendon used to had a creature that they couldn't understand what it was. Turned out it was a fox that had mange, and it wasn't a cryptid, but it was still kind of weird when it was photographed. So apparently, a Doctor Strange 3 has been greenlit, and rumor has it will be adapting the Time Runs Out storyline that came out in 2014, 2015. I haven't read that, so I don't know what that's about, so that's pretty good. What the hell? Oh, Ryan Gosling's "I'm Just Ken" has hit the Hot 100 Billboard charts, much like how Jack Black's song "Peaches" did. Ryan Gosling is now a Billboard artist. Love is the Monster, a horror film set at a couple's retreat. Sorry, Madeline Zima and Leonard Nami is due out here soon. A fossilized Bigfoot skull has been discovered in Utah. I don't know how real that is, but it's out there now. A symphony orchestra spawned a mosh pit at a festival, which is kind of funny to hear and see a mosh pit happening during a orchestra performance, but it's hilarious. Here's where the cow part comes. All right, just listen to this. Is the headline of the week. Man killed by a flying cow that was hit by a train and flung 100 feet in freak accident while urinating on the tracks. So let's delve into that, shall we? A cow had walked on the train tracks, was taking a whiz, a piss, whatever, was hit by a train. It went flying 100 feet in the air and crushed someone who happened to be walking nearby. Again, it's not funny because someone died. It's like last week's story about a man who was killed by tons of cheese. But it's a weird headline, and it's bizarre, and it's interesting. Anniversary. Superbad came out 16 years ago this week. And I didn't know about this. Ray Bradbury wrote a book called The Halloween Tree. It's a little short novella, and that's also on my front stoop right now. I had never read it, and I said, okay, it's kind of good. This was $7. So I figured, why not get it? It's 51 years old, so it's a 51-year-old story. Apparently, there was an animated cartoon based about it, but I don't recall it. So I never saw it, so I wanted to read the book. It's like a children's book sort of thing, I think, but it should be really interesting because it's Halloween. I like Halloween. And another death this week is Herman Ho Ching, former Oregon Ducks running back, drowned this week as well. Okay, I got a page and a half here, and I got to take a piss. And I got like 10 minutes. Well, I got more than that, but I need to blow through this here. Owner of the world's largest comic collection extends his record to 138,000 comics, which he claims he has read all of them. I thought I had a lot. I probably got a couple thousand, but yeah, I don't have 138,000. That's quite a lot. That seems low though for a major comic collection. Couple months ago, to celebrate the Super Mario movie, Oreos released a Super Mario and Luigi Oreo cookie set. And now they're doing the Princess Peach one. So Oreos has releasing a Princess Peach cookie that has rainbow sprinkles on it, but is a typical Oreo cookie. Costco has a 6-foot tall punk rocker skeleton you can put out on your walkway. The first image of the Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage was released this week, behind the scene things. First look at the Paul Mescalt and Saoirse Ronan film Foe, which is due out in movie theaters October 6th, also came out this week. And also the first look of Michael Fassbender in Fincher's remake of The Killer, which is due out 11/10 on Netflix, also came out this week as well. October 13th, Arkham, the video game Arkham Trilogy, the Batman video game called the Arkham Trilogy, is set to debut on Nintendo Switch. It has been out for years before that, but is now on Nintendo Switch. Taron Egerton and Ariana Grande are in talks to star in the Hercules live-action film. Lupita Nyong'o is in talks to take on the role. I think it's on this page. To take on the role in the Princess and the Frog live-action film. So I can't find it on here, but that's interesting there. I did not know. There it is. John Corbett, who played Chris in the Morning on Northern Exposure, is dating Bo Derek, and I did not know that. Bo Derek was my first official celebrity crush, and I did not know that they were dating, so that's kind of interesting. The first ever I don't know what that is. Was it first look at Totally Killer, a time travel horror film from Blumhouse, also made an appearance. So Totally Killer is a cool name. This is a really good idea. 13 Ghosts was a movie that came out back in I think the late 90s during that whole big horror and young star sort of period. That was in of itself a remake of a film from the 1960s. And a lot of people enjoyed the modern update, had Tony Shalhoub, Shannon, what's her face, Elizabeth, and Matthew Lillard. And a lot of people enjoyed the film. It was very well done. I saw that one in the movie theater. There's talks to make it turn into a TV series. And that's actually brilliant because the story is about a house that was built directly to contain 13 ghosts. And the people who move in don't know this, and then they start encountering these ghosts, and each one has a distinct story. This TV show would focus on those stories. I think that'd be a really great idea. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so that's kind of interesting sort of story there. So I'm looking for that. If they do that, I think that'd be great. So the one I couldn't understand, I couldn't read, I got it now. The first ever skunk delay happened at a minor league stadium. So, there are stories about cats that get on the field, or dogs that get on the field, or massive amounts of birds, or fans that get on the field. It's the first time ever that a skunk got onto a baseball field during a baseball game. They had to delay it to get him out of there. It was in a minor league baseball team somewhere in the South, I think. 500-year-old worm with shurikens. Has been now named after the dune sandworms. So that's pretty interesting. 1993 live action Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo is set to get a re-release into Japan movie theaters and also get a 4K Blu-ray release as well. Trailer for the Scott Pilgrim anime set to arrive on Netflix on November 17th, debuted this week as well. Elon Musk says that he will fight Zuckerberg remotely, which makes no fucking sense. Physicists discover the demon particle that was predicted 66 years ago. They actually finally found it. Boy survives 100-foot fall into the Grand Canyon while trying to evade someone taking pictures. That's trying to not get into somebody's picture and you fall into the Grand Canyon to survive is pretty good. I gotta go to the bathroom really bad, so give me a second. I should be on about 3 to 5 minutes. Let's see if I can get it in less than that. So give me a pause. Two minutes intermission. Those were the longest peas I'd ever had in my life, but you didn't need to know that. The Barbie Dream Yacht can be yours for $10 million. An actual yacht that looks like the Barbie Dream Yacht can be yours for $10 million. Okay, The Warrior Nun will be revived as a trilogy of movies. We talked about that. They canceled. I think Netflix canceled the show, but the fans loved it and they wanted closure. They wanted another season, but they said no. So someone else bought the rights to it and are making it into a trilogy of movies. So hopefully that'll work out for them. Excuse me. Harrison Ford has a new species of snake named after him. So that's kind of interesting. Harrison Ford Indiana Jones being afraid of snakes is kind of why they did that. Chick-fil-A, for the first time in 9 years, will be releasing a brand new chicken sandwich to their menu. That'll be a regular item you can get. It's the honey pepper pimento sandwich. Doesn't sound that exciting because I don't like pimento, but it's a brand new chicken sandwich that hasn't been put onto the main menu for 9 years. First one in that time period. We do out on August 28th. Also, they're going to be releasing a new milkshake called the Caramel Crumble. Also due out on the 28th as well. Anniversaries: Uncle Buck, 34 years ago this week. Apocalypse Now, 44 years ago this week. There's a whole documentary about the horrible filming that Francis Ford Coppola went through on that one. The Monster Squad, one of my favorite movies, came out in 1987. So 87, 97, 2007, 2017, 36 years ago. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension came out in 1984. So that was 39 years ago. Okay, 39 years. Freddy versus Jason, the great film pitting these two horror icons against each other, came out 20 years ago this week. And Can't Buy Me Love came out the same day as Monster Squad, 36 years ago this week as well, which is the Patrick Dempsey film where he plays a rich nerd who pays the most popular girl in the world to date him for a few weeks so that he becomes popular. 1980s was a different time. Deaths this week also. Damien Kent, Game of Thrones actor, died at the age of 36. Clarence Avant, the godfather of black music, died at the age of 92. He helped promote Michael Jackson's Bad movie. He got the guy who sings Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone a contract. So he's the godfather of black music, died this week. Elton Vales, an NFL running back, died at the age of 62 this week. Alex Collins, a former Raven player, died at the age of 28 due to a motorcycle accident this week. All right, we're at 2 o'clock. We're leaving half an hour. I don't have a half. I'm not going to do this half an hour. I got a half a page, so it's not going to be half an hour. So this worked out perfectly. Wonderful. Mother's, which is a type of cookie, has an Eerie Critters cookies coming out for Halloween. They don't really look eerie. They look really cute, actually. Reese's, they always do a big thing for Halloween. They used to do the pumpkins, and then they did skeletons, and they've done ghosts, and they've done other things. Every year, it seems like they release something new. Well, this year, they're releasing those separately, but they're also doing an assortment pack of the bats, the pumpkins, and the ghosts, which are all really, really good. So it'd be good to get the combo pack. Or if you just like the pumpkins, get the pumpkins or whatever, but just get something from Reese's. 6-foot-long boa constrictor was found in an Iowa Target shopping cart. Don't know how it got there. Don't know. Pumpkin spice Oreos are back also on shop as well, continuing the pumpkin spice stuff. Mets soda, which I guess is a soda that you can get at the New York Mets games, particularly just for there or up in New York anyway, has more fiber than most Fiber One products, which is weird that a soda has fiber in it. but it has more fiber than your Fiber One products. As people tell you, when you need more fiber, you drink some Fiber One products or eat Fiber One products. Remember, I said how apple is as important as pumpkin is during the fall season. Well, Cinnamon Toast Crunch has heard your call, and they're going to release Apple Pie Crunch, which actually sounds pretty good to me also. Apple Pie Toast Crunch, I'm sorry, is what it's called. Oh, yeah. Great white sharks sometimes have been known to travel in pairs. So they have like a bestie they can go swimming with. Not always the case, but there are some cases where great whites have been seen with a partner. Taylor Swift fam sells his Eras tickets for $14,000, which is going to help pay his college tuition. So he's ecstatic about that. I mean, he's sad that he's missing Taylor Swift, but he's going to college and he's not going to have to worry about it. So that's good. T-bombs are a thing. We all know about hot chocolate bombs and all that stuff, but now T-bombs are something new. It's a ball thing that you drop into water and then it explodes in there, and it's tea's already in there with all the flavoring, stuff like that. You just mix it together and boom, you've got instant tea sort of for the most part. A new pack of an up till now unidentified pack of endangered gray wolves has been spotted in the Sierra Nevadas. Gray wolves had been endangered, and just recently they discovered that there's actually a brand new pack in the Sierra Nevadas, which is a really good thing for the continuation of the gray wolf species. So that's good for that as well. I already talked about that. So boom. Good that. All right. So we're going to do anniversaries, then we'll do the final story, and then I'll be done. So anniversary this week, we have South Park, which came out 26 years ago this week. 26 years ago. God. The Expendables came out, the original Expendables came out 13 years ago this week. Tropic Thunder came out 15 years ago this week. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the live action version, came out 13 years ago this week. And Bonnie and Clyde, the classic Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway movie, came out 54 years ago this week. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High came out 41 years ago this week. So that's all for your anniversary. So last story of the day, and then we'll get out of here. And I'm going to go to lunch here in about 20 minutes. So that's good. Well, I'm leaving to go to lunch, and then we'll meet up at 3 o'clock. Let me finish chugging this. Hopefully in an hour I'll be wanting to get something else to drink. So we'll see. So there's a new space race going on now. Not really that new, but China has landed a rover on the dark side of the moon, and they've been exploring the dark side of the moon because no one's ever really explored the dark side of the moon. So they're the first ones to do that. So that's cool. We've gotten some interesting things coming back from them. The Americans have been sending rockets to see if they can get people to the moon again. They're going to be, I think, later this year, they're going to be sending humans to the moon again. They're not going to land. They're just going to go fly out and come back like they did with the Apollo missions, where they want to see if they can do it and see how it's going to be successful. And then the next one after that should be, okay, we're going to land finally. But they want to see if they can actually take humans out to the moon and back, bring them back safe. So that's coming up soon here too. So that's coming too. Russia has released their first rover in 50 years to do some exploring on the moon. And India is just about to have their rover land on the moon as well. Now, the Russian and the Indian rovers are competing to be the first country to land at the moon's south pole. No one has ever landed there before, and that's where it's rumored that there's ice, actually water ice in craters that we could use potentially for creating bases on Mars. Well, it looks like Russia is not going to be the first one to land one there. They were going to be the first one because they were getting ready to land their rover this weekend, on Saturday, actually, when Russian space program lost the signal from the rover. think it was just a malfunction. They were trying to get it back, but they were unable to bring it back. So they were able to take a look at it. They discovered the site. The probe had crash landed on the moon and was destroyed. So their first trip in 50 years was a failure. Now, we know Russia's not in the best shape right now with their awful leader and the way things are, but that's still kind of got to hurt you, particularly with the stuff that they did on Mars before we went there, and that stuff getting destroyed as well was kind of freaking weird also. That's a whole different story and has a more of a UFO bent to it. But I digress. So now India, their rover is now set to land there within the next couple days. Now, I think India had a probe sent out there not too long ago that crashed also. So we're going to see if they're actually going to be able to do it. So I think within the next few days, I think it's really soon, actually. It's like tomorrow or Tuesday, the rover will be landing on Mars in the South Pole. So we will see if India can become the first country to land on the South Pole, or is maybe the South Pole a cursed area that's going to cause probes and rovers, stuff like that, to be destroyed on impact. So we'll find out, but that's what's going on. So that's kind of an interesting thing going on in space right now. And that, my friends, is the end of that. Next week is the final episode of Dylan Knows for August. Again, we'll probably be on Saturday because we'll be going to the Orioles game on Sunday. As I said, this week will be my son's 14th birthday on Friday. And on Thursday, he has a orientation at his high school. So he's going to go to that. My mom is supposed to come up and visit her grandchildren. She hasn't seen since her cancer stuff for about a year now, to see them this week as well on Wednesday. And my son doesn't know this, but I have taken Friday off to celebrate his birthday with him. We're going to go take him to the aquarium. So that'll be fun, and whatever else he wants to do. So that'll be fun. So that's what we got going on this week. My daughter has an orthodontist appointment on Thursday. So that's how my week's going to shape up. So we'll see what happens. So yes, this upcoming weekend will be the beginning of the State Fair in Maryland, and also the Renaissance Fair is going to start this upcoming weekend as well. And we're getting closer to fall again, closer to Labor Day. So the last Dylan Knows show for August 2023 is set for next Saturday night. So we'll see you then, and hopefully we have some interesting stuff to talk about. I will see you all later, and I'm off to enjoy a nice early dinner with my dad and stepmom and my family. All right. Check you guys later. Have fun.